Daria watched the water for days. It was a game her governess taught her when she was large enough to cause a fuss. If she focused and unfocused her eyes, time blurs at the edges, no longer sharp enough to catch. Time can slide by unnoticed. It had been the only useful thing her governess had taught her. Every other lesson left them both red-faced in a match not unlike two tigers in battle. The lesson was not one her governess had even taught her. It was more of a discovery Daria made during the long hours of languages she did not wish to speak and dances she had no intention of following. Still, the woman gave so much effort towards bettering her, it seemed only right to credit her with something. But now, that governess was a year and a continent behind. Now there was an entire ocean in front and behind her. She was being tossed in the air again, and this time it hardly bothered her at all. America, a place full of wild and untamed. There was the matter of the boarding school her uncle was taking her to. She might run off. There was even a circus where a woman performed tricks with a gun. Daria would love to do that. She had found her father's gun once. It might have been the only time he had ever spoken to her. But it wasn't so much spoken to her as about her, and not so much speaking as yelling. She did not notice when he left. She had sat on the bench facing a circle window, imagining a different, more varied life. Something that could live up to the excitement others had when they heard of her unconventional upbringing. There were so many places. An estate in the country gave way to a townhouse in the city that blurred into an appointment so far it required a ship, trains, horses, and even much to her delight, an elephant. There were even schools that admitted her thanks to her parents' money and her uncle's position. The other girls would clamor to her side to hear romantic tales that shifted and glinted in new ways every time she told them. Parents dead of plagues or Bengal tigers, a local village that adopted her as one of their own, teaching her medicines, languages, and dances that not even the most liberal dancing instructor could have dreamed. Her father was caught stealing from the government and wandered to the jungle, never to return. Her mother dead from starvation, or a brain fever, or even a murder plot. No one ever believes each facet combined made up the truth. Her uncle was her only family left, and he was never amused when her antics interrupted his voyages. She was with a disheartened governess her uncle had hired on the continent, heading towards a new world. A new place to be left until she dreams up a spectacular stunt to escape. The circus, a girl gunslinger, the Wild West. All of it so possible if she just puts her feet on land. America, the land of outlaws and adventurers. A country she could form herself. The box was still where she had found it that morning, in her goldfish Moby's bowl. She had yet to investigate, hoping to draw the mystery out, to eat up the hours of boredom with possibility. A small treasure chest appeared that did not inconvenience her goldfish at all. Daria felt as though her patience was proved and her ability to resist was laudable. She plunged her fingers into the water to pull out the perfect replica of a pirate's chest. It rested in the palm of her hand, the lock ornate, and each piece of wood carved and fastened. It took a sewing needle to pry open the latch. A ring sized to her pinky finger. A pearl glowed, set with the silver octopus whose tentacles made the prongs. The new governess had the skill of stillness, something Daria did not note until the moment the door swung open. It was a vignette, an automaton waiting for a gear to turn. In the later years of her life, Daria would wonder if she heard the click of machinery. Daria showed the governess the ring, and the woman sucked the air through her teeth. Best throw that over and be a good girl at school. Your blessed uncle chose for you. Daria had no interest in anything that could be the possibility of making her a good girl, and placed the ring on her finger, rushing off to thank her uncle. He shook his head, seeing it. You caught someone's attention. Thank you so much for listening and watching me draw. This was a chapter from Lady Constantine's School of Maudlin and Mischevious Young Ladies, If you would like to read the rest of it, head over to www.owlandtwine.com, and the rest of the chapters should be there. I'm still editing and working on it. These illustrations are not actually what these people look like. They are just an idea in my head that helps me think while I draw. Daria watched the water for days.